Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and I want to thank you for tuning in. This week we're tackling a commission job. A customer sent me in a Hot Wheels AMX Javelin and a pair of wheels to work with. So if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of all future videos. Alright, so as I said, I have an AMX Javelin here. It's brand new. I'm not sure where he got it, but he sent it to me with the wheels. So obviously first step is to take it apart and kind of see what we have. Plastic base car, metal body, nothing fancy to write home about, but it is a real cool casting. They did a good job with it. The detail on the interior is pretty decent as well. I actually love this casting. Anything that's kind of muscle car related, I kind of gravitate towards too as well. I'm not much of an import guy, although I probably should be just to expand my horizons. So he sent me these wheels. They are from, I believe, the Greenlight Mopar collection. They look like Torq thrusts. And the issue that I ran into with these is the size. They are taller and slightly wider than what came with it originally. So the way the casting is with the AMXs, they have a wide fender well, and both front and rear. But the way the casting is, it's real thick on the inside. So you can see here, they fit, but they rub. And stance-wise, I really wasn't happy with it. I spent, you can't tell by the video, but I ended up spending a lot of time kind of screwing around with this, trying to get the right look, and it was very difficult to find a happy medium where the wheels would be tucked inside and have a slight rake and be able to somewhat move. It's a showpiece. I really wasn't overly concerned. As a matter of fact, the back wheels don't really turn. The front wheels do, because of what I end up having to do for the spacing. So my first order of business, ideally, is to, you can see right here is one of my stances that I was kind of after, just a little bit lower. So step one is I had to get rid of part of the wheel where the little tab sticks out, where you stick in the or at least the guide where you stick in the axle tubing. So that gave me a little bit of clearance in the front, but not quite enough for what I was looking for to be able to tuck this in. So the other thing is the simulated brake rotors that they have on these front and rear. I cut all those off because I wanted this low to the ground. And with the diameter of these wheels, and the higher you put them in the chassis, it screws it up a little bit, and it'll end up almost dragging on those. So they're kind of pointless. They don't serve any real use. It's not like anybody thinks they're brake rotors. So I kind of hacked those off, and then decided to kind of grind away at the inside of the chassis, or the outside, I guess you could say, where the wheels sit, front and rear, just to kind of give it that little bit of extra clearance that I needed. And also, because of the diameter of the wheel, I had to just kind of go a little bit further, front and back, just to kind of give it that little bit of extra room. And I probably spent 90% of my time that I did spend on this project fitting wheels. It's kind of crazy. So I got them there. What I'll end up doing is, once I get the right width, I wanted to add this tubing. Well, what it ends up doing, aside from just being able to stick the axle through it and allow the wheels to rotate, it lifted them up a little bit, which just kind of tucked those wheels just that extra, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, up inside the fender wells, and it kind of gave it just that slight stance, which is kind of what I was looking for. I like to use the axle tubes wherever I can. However, in this case, it was a necessity to get the stance that I really, really wanted. And in the back, what I do is I'll end up grinding the groove a little bit further down so that the back sits higher. The lower you go, the lower the wheel sits, the more of a little bit of a rake you're going to get. And these I just glued straight in, because if I would have tried to use the axle tube, I would have had to cut too deep, and I would have pretty much cut, there would have been no material left, and that just wasn't going to work. So you know, you got to take the good with the bad. So after I get the wheels fit, you know, 80 times of back and forth, I stripped it with Citrus Strip. Paint came off actually fairly easy. Use a wire. I've got a wire brush attachment, 3 or 4 different ones that I'll use just to get all the residue off, and then I'll hit it with the 4/0 steel wool, which I find roughs it up a little bit. Then I'll file new castings. Always have casting flaws, usually around the windows, so I did those. This turned into a nightmare. What I did is I ended up painting the chassis flat black. I taped off the front and rear bumpers, and I clear coat it, so give me some stability, and it knocks the chrome down a little bit, so it's not so plasticky and cheap looking. So I wanted to paint it two-tone, so I put silver on it. Then I want to put like an AMX stripe on it, and I was going to go with, you wanted a root beer color at first, and that grabber orange really kills it, and if you put it deep enough. Nothing but problems with this candy paint. So I stripped it again, reprimed it, resilvered it, and I decided to go with a different color, with the pearl green. And I'm kind of glad I did. So with every issue comes a solution, and I'm really glad I went with the green. I think it looks a lot better. I think he's a lot happier. I showed him pictures. He loves it. The candy, I'm not sure. It's like oil and water all of a sudden. I don't know what it is. I've changed everything. I got filters. I did all kinds of stuff and all kinds of testing, and I narrowed it down to the candy paint. So I don't know if it went bad or it just doesn't react really well with the humidity. But while that's drying, I'm going to touch up all the details, your headlights, driving lights, grill, tail lights, and I use a mix of paint pens, toothpicks, crayons. I'll use anything I can, but a lot of times I'll end up using the paint pens, and then when it comes to like the toothpicks and stuff, I'll use regular testers, model paints. So as soon as I painted it green, I took the masking off. And if anybody's been following me, you know I've had nothing but masking issues in the past. I'm telling you, this Tamiya paint tape works wonders. I love it. I haven't had a single issue since I switched to it. I can't recommend it enough. So the green with the silver I thought it looked really, really good. I'm super, super happy with it. The next step, obviously, is the details before I clear it. I get this Model Master turn signal amber, so it worked out really well. So I just wanted to hit, there wasn't a lot of detail on the body. There was your front turn signals, rear turn signals, your door handles, trunk lock. And that was about it, but I wanted to do all those. I kind of go back and forth. There's been times where I've clear coated and then done the details because it's easier to clean up after if I screw up. But this time I tried to do it first, and it worked out okay. You can see I got my little magnifying glass because I'm blind as a bat lately. I find as I get older, I can't see close at all unless I have some serious help. So, and plus I shake like crazy, so I think I need to start drinking more. Maybe, I don't know, but the magnifying glass definitely helps keep things a little bit steady for me. You have to get used to it because depth perception, you're going to end up being a little further away than you think or closer than you think. Depends on, I guess, maybe your eyesight. So after that, I picked up some different clear coat. I was using the Redline Shop clear coat, and I pretty much found the same thing at an auto body shop. And this stuff is awesome, and I bought it in bulk in comparison, obviously, to the Redline Shop where they just give you a little bottle. And this stuff will last me forever. I think I paid $50, maybe 60 for everything, including the hardener. And I will never, ever, it'll go bad before I run out, as opposed to having to buy a bottle a month through the Redline Shop. Nothing against their products. I think their products are awesome. I just, for the amount of cars that I do, I just think volume-wise it was worth it for me to do that since I'm using an airbrush anyways. And it works great in the airbrush, no issues whatsoever. And the last thing I really wanted to do before I went to assembly was the exhaust. And I'm using a silver Sharpie to just go through and highlight. Just another tool to have in your arsenal. You can do it with a brush. You can, if you got a steady hand, or a paint pen. I just like the Sharpies. It's easy to work with, and it's more comfortable for me. Unfortunately, my big paws are in the way. There's no good way to do this and film it Either the camera would be like in my face or you'd see my hands, so I apologize in advance for that. But anyways, that's the clear that I used. And here's a quick shot of what it looked like literally 2 seconds after I put the spray gun down with the clear. Stuff's awesome. And then it's just assembly, which after fitting it 100 times, you kind of know it's going to go together well. So I was real happy with the way it came out, and I know he is as well, which is a great relief. That's the problem with commission jobs. You screw it up, you're screwing it up unless you have 3 or 4 castings. So this is what you're looking at. This is what we started with, and this is what we ended up with. Once again, I hope you guys stick around and watch the pictures at the end. If you like what you see, make sure you check out my other videos, and I'll catch you on the next one.